What is going on, man? Jeremiah Black Development Network. I think I took it like one day off. I think. So back with another video. Hey, man, I seen this clip resurface on my Facebook. It might be old to y'all, or it might be an old video. But I just wanted to discuss it because, again, it is a K-Sam video, and I do want to kind of like talk about this because I think this is a big issue between the dynamics between male and female right now.
Mentor man, can you play the background?
When you say play the background, what do you mean play the background?
Play your natural role.
My natural role in being a wife?
Yes, the background.
I don't think a natural role as a wife is in the background.
Show me where in the world the natural wife is in front.
She's not in front, but she's the side.
No, she's not.
Why she's not, Kevin?
Are you out of your French toast mind?
Don't do that now, Kevin. I'm just giving you my opinion.
Okay, well, when a burglar comes, are you standing side, when somebody's coming to break in the house, are you side by side beside your husband, or are you standing behind him because he's going to have to take the bullet?
So the way I see Kevin Samuels is I kind of see him arguing from a superior standpoint, and it's crazy how motherfuckers tell women to like play their role and things like that, and then argue from the hilltop or argue from this place of superiority and things like that. So let's argue some of his points here. So number one, I absolutely agree with the young lady. Women are definitely meant to be on the side, not behind. He makes another argument that I'm going to play later, kind of trying to back that argument up. He's trying to clean up the argument, which is still a dumb argument. But he's arguing also about the burglar thing. I'm gonna be honest with you. If I ask Lil Durk in India, shit, they both shooting, bit dog. But here's the thing too. My family's from Epps, Alabama. If I got any Alabama people, make sure you like the video. Everybody in the country learned how to shoot. Women, children, everybody learned how to tote a gun, just in case. You never know what might pop off. So if a burglar jumps in the house, you know what I mean, you don't know who gonna shoot you, to be honest with you, because everybody in there has a gun. Everybody in there has the ability to shoot. I'm from the country, so also I have another argument, man. I had an aunt, God bless her soul, man. She ended up getting robbed. Now, of course, you know my uncle. He works. She's married. She has kids. Everybody's doing their own thing. Women don't always have the comfortability of having a man always around. And so, you know, having them, that's why that argument is kind of invalid, because if a burglar does get in the house, I want my wife to know how to shoot first and ask questions later. Not cower and try to hide the kids and stuff like that. You know, you can hide the kids, lock the door and things like that, but whether the man's in the house or out of the house, I still want my woman to be able to defend me. And you think I'm gonna get mad at her if she cracks the guy over the head with a skillet? You got me fucked up.
But I'm trying to explain to you, we in two different generations right now. The generation that you're trying to explain to us, my generation is not living like that no more.
Yeah, and that's why you're dying by yourself.
But who says there isn't a man that's willing to take me for him to me for me?
1 in 4 of you will marry. I mean, look, man, the stats don't work for your argument. Prior to 1965, black people were married at a rate of 80%. You go out to any cemetery, you'll see a black man buried next to a black woman. Mm-hmm. But you go after 1990, and you'll start seeing black women buried around her children.
Why is that?
Because y'all are unruly, unsubmissive, and out of line.
Well,
go to a restaurant on Friday or Saturday night, and you'll see a mama. You may see her with her mother and a bunch of kids. There will be no husband.
It's weird to kind of make that as an argument as well, seeing as like just because you go out and you see a woman with kids doesn't mean that a man is not present. Also, I'm from Atlanta, big dog. There's plenty of couples and plenty of married people that go out and go on dinners and stuff like that. I don't get the argument there. It has been probably a dip in the marriage just because of social media. People realizing they don't have to stay married to people. There's no... a lot of people don't stay married because really there's no incentive to stay unhappy. And so it's kind of funny that he says that in his video too, but I'm gonna let it get to that point and I'm gonna make my point.
Well, how many women at that point in time had degrees and education? Everybody.
What the fuck does your degree mean?
Why doesn't it mean anything?
What is your degree in?
But why doesn't it mean?
What is it? What's the degree in?
And before I continue, if people make it to this part, Big Dog, I'm gonna be honest with you. No, I'm not the biggest Kevin Samuels fan, so it might seem like a lot of hate. But if y'all actually listen to this man, actually listen, stop being triggered by these women getting on there and things like that. He also doesn't really let her talk, so I don't see how he was even able to draw some of the conclusions that he got. Also, I do want to make this statement about degrees. Most people who make a lot of money have degrees. They have degrees, or they have some type of certification, which is still schooling, and things like that. Is pretty common. That's why people go to school. They go to school to get great education so that they can make more money. Are there certain jobs that don't require, schooling? Sure, it's a few, but most jobs that require schooling, actually make a lot of money.
Completely out of line. But you don't even understand how the world works. You're running on override. Men build the world that you live in.
Oh, okay.
Who built that house or apartment you live in? Was it a crew of women? Who designed the metal work? Who put in the floor, the plumbing, the electrical system, the heating? Who put that in? The car you drive, was that built by a crew of women?
So again, he loves using like who created all this infrastructure, who created all that stuff. And again, that's a very simple, topic to talk about. Most men are going to be in general labor. They're going to be in your more construction to infrastructure spaces, mainly because we're physically strong enough to do it. And that's just science. That's nothing that you can argue about with that. Are there women that actually do that stuff? Absolutely, there are. There are some women that can actually do it. When I was in C5, I was blessed enough to meet a young lady. She was an African American lady, and she was an electrician. She was making six figures being an electrician, and also traveling to London and other places in order to fix electrical grids. So it was pretty cool to see her do that. But also, I want to hit Kevin Samuels over the head, though. Again, that's not the argument of equal, and because at the end of the day, while you're out building, women are out creating more human beings, and that's what puts them on the same pedestal as us. Unfortunately, men can't poop out kids. They're also at home taking care of the kids most times, even when they do have a job. They're still at home taking care of the kids most of the time. Men are not out doing that because we still have to work, provide, and do things in that stretch of time. This is such a winnable argument, and let me also get to my point as well. I just think that there's so much yelling going on here, and so much like moving the goalposts and trying to find a point and things like that both people don't realize. This is a dumb perspective to look at.
He is. No, he is. Go look at Bear Grylls Island season 2, and they dropped a bunch of men and a bunch of women on a deserted island and gave them some basic tools, and they had to survive for 6 weeks. By the end of day 1, the women had gotten lost and were fractured. By the end of day 1, men got to one side of the island and started building out a shelter. By the end of 6 weeks, the men had damn near made the internet. By the end of 6 weeks, women almost would have died 4 times.
Again, Kevin Samuels, I asked you. So they created all that stuff, right? At some point, those men get old. At some point, those men can't do that work anymore, that physical labor anymore. How do they reproduce without the women? That was actually what the balance was. That was actually the lesson that needed to be taught. Now, please understand something, that a lot of times, yes, a lot of women do let their emotions get in the way of certain things. It also lets you know that sometimes women don't play fair, and they don't play... some of them can't operate in groups and things like that. But to be quite fair with you, men also lack in emotional empathy. They lack in sympathy, and also they lack in the ability to reproduce. So even if they damn near built the internet, society would have stopped right there because there's no one to help them reproduce.
I feel like growing up, seeing my grandfather, seeing my daddy pay all the bills, do everything in their power to make sure the home is kept well, they still went out and did bullshit over their wives. Now,
excuse me. Hold on. Let me stop you right here. First off, stay in your damn place as a child. That ain't your motherfucking business.
But I'm grown now.
But ain't your business. Excuse me. Stop.
Because you
breathe,
know what? That's
breathe, breathe,
trauma.
breathe,
That's
breathe,
trauma. No, 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 Mr.
breathe. No, no,
Samuel.
no, no.
That's
I will shut
trauma.
this shit
What
down.
it
I
is,
will shut this shit down.
Come on, man. This is also the part where I had to kind of get into it because like you knew you were about to hit an emotional trigger, and you just said whatever you wanted to say during that time. And that's the problem with like black people, even as a whole. When we talk about mental health, it's cool to talk about mental health on the internet, but when someone is in front of you and telling you that they went through mental trauma as a child, then it's suck it up, and that had nothing to do with you. That was grown people business. Here's what I'm saying is that yeah, sure, like there's some things that we should not witness as children, but when we do witness them, it does become our business because that stuff traumatizes us. Kevin Samuels, weren't you just on here talking about how men leave women or something like that, and he was talking about, and then you leave these like beta boys to grow up by themselves and stuff like that. Isn't that also talking about the same trauma that this young lady's talking about? Again, this is why they think that the red pill is misogynistic and things like that, because you guys go to the extreme to try to prove your argument. You know what I mean? And again, I get that he's from the old school and things like that, but let's keep it real, man. Let's go all the way to today. Let's be honest with ourselves as a black community. You can't blame half the 30, 29, 25 to 30 year olds that don't want to get married. Most of them seen how y'all acted when y'all got married. That's where the trauma started. It started with you, Kevin Samuels. It started with some of our grandfathers, our grandmothers. And guess what? When the internet grew and when we were able to go out and find the best available possible options for us, we did that. It's going to take time to do that. And that's why the stats fall out like they fall out. And so it's just crazy as hell to me that you're dismissive of this comment.
I'll shut this shit down and finish. That is not. It's not your place.
Because
You tell the worst part of everything. But tell me, where do you ever? I never hear you women get black men credit for anything. It's always talk about the wedding to exhale and the color purple bullshit.
that's the bullshit right there, Mr. Sam. Let me tell you something. I go to therapy, and me and my parents and my grandparents, that shit they go through might not have been my business, but I inhaled it. I saw that. I saw
That's
the
your problem. Okay. And how,
So wait, you acknowledged that she was a child, and you acknowledged that she was a child, and then you took the time out to say that was your business, that was your fault, and think, what are you talking about, big dog? You see the contradiction in the two sentences that he just followed up with. Again, bro, we as a black community, we can't sit here and talk about trauma and mental trauma and things like that. I wanted to talk about the never giving black men credit and things like that because that wasn't the argument that you guys were presenting. Men being on the side of women is still giving men their due credit. That's why I hate when we go to these extremes when it comes to this type of content and it comes to the manosphere and stuff like that, because no one's not giving men credit when just because women have earned their spot on the side of us, raising our children, having our children, being nurturers, still going out into a world where the economy is trash and they can't really afford to sit at home because men are not making as much money as they used to make, nor is the benefits there. And things like that, man. I live out in the real world. I go out and I've had a great family, and I have great people beside me that are married, which goes to my next point before I get out of here. Kevin Samuels has 2 failed marriages. He has not gotten remarried yet. We haven't heard his wife speak up on him. We haven't heard anything like that. The last time one of his wives tried to speak up, he deleted his Instagram, and then all of a sudden his wives just suddenly disappeared from the face of the earth. Okay, so that's my only thing. Y'all take with that what you will, but this isn't no berating or bashing of men or anything like that. And that's the problem that's going on today, is that when you remove the barrier of women being able to make money, a lot of men lost their fucking minds. Because that's what they took to the grave with them. Hey, at least I provided for my family. At least I provided for my kids and things like that. The one thing I want men to really understand is, man, sometimes y'all got to redefine yourselves outside of the money. Because we're also asking for them to love and appreciate us as well. And they can't love and appreciate us if we're all about money. So a lot of that stuff starts with us. And that's just how I see it, man. Like, subscribe, comment. Peace.